Hey there, sweet friends. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I've got my Friday sweatshirt on. Happy Friday, friends. It is Lisa at Handstand with Lisa Prado. I am so excited to bring to you today the last and final day of this Silly Old Bear Craft Along. So we have 3 projects today. We have one card kind of involved, super cute, an easier card, and then also a 3D project, and that will close her all up. If you have purchased a tutorial and it has not shown up to you yet, please make sure to reach out to me. I had a little issue where Stripe was not sending me notifications, so I went in there and I had a few more to send out that I sent out yesterday. So that is what I have for you. I hope that you guys are planning a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. How is it Memorial Day already? And also it's like 50 degrees here. It's freezing. But I'm so excited for Memorial Day. I am actually taking the weekend off and we are hosting a little Memorial Day morning breakfast. We're going to get out the griddle on the grill and do up a breakfast. So that should be really fun. Other than that, it will be lots and lots of yard work, but getting the yard all pretty and ready for the summer months. So I'm so excited to have you join me today. As always, if you're live, say hello. If you're watching via replay, go ahead and type in replay. Let me know where you are watching from. If it's your first time, always introduce yourself. We love that so much. So should we get to it? All right, so we are going to start with our card that is a wee bit more involved. You can see I've got them all organized here. So we are going to project 9. So for those of you who are crafting along that you got your projects, we are going to do project 9 to kick it off. And then we'll scoot around a little bit, but that is going to be the project that we're going to work on today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out all of the supplies here. This one we did a lot of work ahead of time. A lot of work ahead of time so that it would come together a little bit easier. And obviously if you did not purchase the full box of the Craft Along, you stick around, my friends. You just may learn a little something, some tips, some tricks. I'm going to hope this is probably a card. You have likely seen this card before, but it's just so cute. It's so cute, and it's a good reminder. I know for myself, I had kind of forgotten. You know how it is, like you see a really fancy card fold, and then you just forget about it. Like it's like, oh, I haven't made that in forever, or I made that 2 years ago, or whatever. There's just endless ways of using our cardstock here, isn't there? So we're going to start by putting together, these are, remember how I said I like to craft with other people because if it were up to me, never would I ever use these little tiny pieces, but they're so cute. So I'm so glad that we have them. So we have, what we're making here are acorns. So we've got the tops that we've done in early espresso. There's 2 big ones and 2 little ones. And then we have the acorn bodies. And so here we have the 2 big ones and the 2 little ones. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put these together. I think that's a really easy way to start so that we can get them together and let them dry a little bit before we go to work on them a little bit more. So I'm going to come in with my green glue on this one, and I'm just going to put that little bit of green glue at the top of each acorn. So the acorn is done in a little pecan pie, and then the tops are done in early espresso, which I think is just so cute. And this is will be darling on the finished product. But we will just go ahead and look at how cute that is. Can you guys see it? Probably not. You might be a little low. Let me pick it up here. Look at how cute that little acorn is. It even has that little indent that makes it look so real. That is just part of the die, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're just going to do those, and we're going to lay them off to the side so that they can dry while we're doing everything else. I think that will make it a little bit easier when we go to put them together, that part will have dried already. So let's start with that, and then we'll do the big guys here. Come in here. So it's kind of funny, as we are doing this, yesterday my pre-order for July online products, the online exclusives that I had ordered, all came yesterday. And we are talking Halloween and Christmas. Such fun, super cute stuff that's coming. So very, very excited about that. So we've got that done. What we're going to do next, I am going to follow the directions as they were printed out to you so that you feel really comfortable with that. So we did all of the die cutting. All right, and so now we're going to come with these die cuts. So we have our piece of Golden Glow, and we ran that through the largest label, and then we also ran it through with that embossing 100 acre embossing folder. So cute. So we've got that piece here, and then we're going to have this piece. So all of these labels were pre-cut to make it as easy as possible for us to put this together. So let me just take a sec to glue all the labels together, one on top of the other. Make sure I'm not supposed to add any ribbon. All right, so this is going to sit here. This is going to sit here. And let me just take a peek at that card front again. Sometimes if we just look at what it's supposed to look like on the front, it can make it a little bit easier as well. All right, so this is going to go here. This is going to go here. Now, if you wanted to, this would be a great place to get out that blending brush, and you could blend some ink onto any of these if you like a look that is a little bit more distressed. You guys know that that is not usually what I am going for with my projects. So if you like that, a little bit of Golden Glow on here, a little bit of Early Espresso, that can be really, really cute. We are going to stamp on this little guy. And so let me get my Early Espresso. I think actually I'm going to do this in Golden Glow. I think it'll be really cute in Golden Glow. So I'm going to open that up. Where so many pieces, I don't even know where to put it, for crying out loud. All right, let's come here. We're going to get those little bees. We've used these bees a couple times, and I think they do add just that perfect little something something to a project, which I really love. I love those simple little add-ons that just seem to add so much. So we're just going to take that, and we're going to put these. Let me grab, I'm just going to put a piece of paper underneath it there so we don't get ink anywhere. And we're just going to go ahead and put these bees right at the top of that. Look at that. That way you don't have to really color that in. Do you see how cute that looks? Really, really cute. So we've got our little bees on there in our Golden Glow. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and adhere all of these together. So we've got our Golden Glow piece that has been run through the with the 100 acre embossing folder. We're going to put our piece of vellum, which I loved this. Would not have thought to put a piece of vellum there as a layer, and it actually works just so darn good, doesn't it? And then we're going to put that there as well. Make sure I'm just doing it all the way we want to do it here. So we're going to put that layer right there. So we're just creating these layers of our that is going to go on the front. Now, Pooh and Piglet are going to sit right about there. So I'm just going to put them there so that I know that they're there, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to stamp the greeting, and the greeting goes on there as well. So let's just make sure. We're going to use the Old Friends Are the Best Friends, which we know how much we love that one, right? And I am going to do that one in a little Early Espresso. Early Espresso pairs so well with this suite. The suite itself really highlights all of those new in colors. But Early Espresso is just such a great natural color that looks really yummy with the rest of these. So we're going to put that there as well. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are just going to make sure that when we layer this, there's going to be plenty of room for everything, right? So that's how it's going to go. So sometimes it's nice just to lay it out, get a feel for where you want everything to be, and then we can come back and we're going to pop up Pooh and Piglet on here. So we're going to grab your dimensionals and go ahead and put Pooh and Piglet down, and then we will also pop up that greeting on our dimensionals as well. So look at that. I mean, just popping them up, it makes such a difference in terms of the impact that has, because it just creates those little shadows, which I love. So we'll do that, and we've got that little... All right, so that part is done. So that part looks great. We're going to set that aside with our little acorns over there that we're working on. Next up is we have a couple of leaves that we die cut as well. And so we're going to bring back this here. and we're just going to put a little bit of color. We did these in just a vanilla, and so we're just going to come with our blends. And here's how I'm going to do it. Let me grab my other blend so I can do the whole thing here. Isn't this cute? This is where I put my new blends. I got this little rose gold. Puts them all together. I always am like, anytime there's new colors, I don't want to mix them all in with everything else. So I always get a little nervous about how I'm going to do it. But this seems to work out just perfect. So I'm just going to come and I'm going to take our darkest golden glow, and I'm just going to go with this particular dye. It creates those nice shadow leaves on here. And so I'm just going to go over where they've already created those nice shadows. All right, so we've got that done. And you could do these in Peaceful Pine as well. And then I'm just going to kind of color around here. We just want to create a little bit of variety with that color. Doesn't need to be anything crazy. We're not doing a big coloring, but you can see it just adds that little bit of variation that makes it just that little bit more interesting than having something be one flat color. So I do love that. It's funny, you know, with my House of Color business, I just had two lovely clients in today. I mean, I feel like I'm talking about color all the time. It's just is constant. But how some people and some projects look really good with a little bit bolder differences, and some things we need to have more soft. Just kind of part of it personal preference, but we know that a clear bold color is always going to look a little less natural than something that has a little bit of more variation to it, because most things in nature not solid colored. That is color theory for today. Color theory 101. No, actually that's more than 101, but you guys know where I'm going with that. So fun. All right, so we've done that part of it. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to work on putting the card together. This is a pull tab card, which for those of us who live in the Midwest, we like a good pull tab, don't we? We do. We do. All right. So let's get this out. We're going to take our piece of early espresso. I better close that up before I create chaos for myself. All right, so our piece of early espresso, we have 2 of them. And so we are going to take the long one and we are going to score it. So we're going to lift that scoring blade up so that we don't make a mistake. And so we're going to go ahead and score this. This is going to make our pocket for our pocket card. So we're going to score it there, and then we're going to score it again here. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to fold that together. So we scored it here. If we look at this first score line, second score line, when you fold it, it's going to create this little flap on the back. And we're going to adhere that and close that. But the other thing we're going to do is we're going to also close the bottom. We're going to close the bottom as well. And so when I open this up, that is where I'm going to put my tear tape. So I know that I need it to go along this edge here. And then I'm also going to take it down the bottom. So we'll go ahead and put that right there. And then we're going to come along the bottom as well. All right, so that way our card will stay together really nicely, and we'll be able to make sure that it doesn't fly open when it's under a little bit of stress there. So let's close that bottom one first, and then we'll take this one off, and we're going to go right like this. All right, so we've created our little pocket card, and that's what we're going to be using. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the insert for that. So let's just see here. Well, let's do it. Might as well just finish some of this. Let's do this one here. So this piece of Designer Series paper goes right on the front of that. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, got all of our labels. So we're going to set that aside. We did this sentiment, we did our leaves, we colored them, glued our acorns together. All right, so if we look on here, very vanilla. We have the back and the insert. So I believe, so let's see if this, oh, look at that. It's going to be so perfect. So for the insert, we have the insert and then we have the back. So we're going to be working on those pieces next. So it's the two larger pieces of Very Vanilla that we're going to be working on. So we're going to stamp, stamp, stamp. All right. So this little guy is going to fit right there. Let me, and if you are watching with your PDF, it's on page 21 is the finished one. So we can kind of see what that's going to look like. So this is going to come down a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and stamp another greeting right here. So let's get that greeting out. And this one is the I Will Love You one, which I do not think we have used on any of our projects yet. You can see I was a little messy. So let's find that one. Never hurts. I will love you until forever and even after that. Oh, darling, 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 darling. This set is like every time you see something, I'm like, oh, I hadn't seen that before. Oh, I hadn't seen that before. I feel like it just is the one, like it just keeps giving and giving and giving. There's just so many different pieces to it and so many different ways to use it. It just is forever and ever and ever something fun and different, which I do love. All right, we've got our greeting. And so that is going to go. Oh, right there. Sorry, just smacked you in the head. It's Friday, friends. It's Friday, right? So we've got that piece. And we are going to go ahead and attach this to there as well. All right. And then for this piece, this is going to be on the back, and we're going to go ahead and put those sweet little honey pots on here. All right, and now we have our little acorns and our little leaves, and so we're just going to go in and we're going to do a sticking those on, and we do want to use just a regular adhesive rather than a dimensional because we are going to be pulling this out of the card, and we don't want anything to catch anywhere, right? We don't want to be pulling something out and then one of those really pretty embellishments catches and comes off and it kind of becomes a wasted little piece. So we're going to go right there with those. And then we are going to go ahead and take those acorns. I'll put one here. We'll come over here with the next one. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to go ahead and put our little bit of adhesive on one of those. We'll put this up in the corner. And this just helps, I think when you repeat elements, it just helps pull everything together. And since this card has so many moving pieces, we have lots of opportunity to create where all of those pieces are going to sit together. There, look at how cute that is. All right, now what we have to do is we have to work on how we're going to create this as a pop-up. So we are going to find our ribbon. All right, so what we need to do here is we need to punch a hole first. So this is our pop-up. This is where, remember we created that envelope. This is the top. It's all been secured here, so we do need to create a little hole right at the top there. Now again, for those of you who like to measure, please feel free to measure that so it's even. I just like to eyeball. Sometimes it does come back to bite me, but that is just the way that I like to do things. Now, here's how we're going to do this. Oh, that little guy sticking on there. We're going to take our ribbon and we are going to thread it through these holes. And give yourself a lot here. Don't be shy with this ribbon. So we've given you a whole roll to play with. So know that you want to make sure that you've got plenty of ribbon there because it has to make the whole thing. So you can see how I just pulled that through. You can see I've got a ton here. Because what we're going to do is we need enough for this. We need enough for this to go down right there. All right, so that part is really, really important. And then what happens is when we pull this up, that is when the card comes up. All right, so we've got this on here. So we're just going to go ahead on the back of this. All right, this piece is going to go on the very back of the card so you can write your sentiments and all that kind of good stuff. So let's go ahead. We've got this ribbon. We're going to put our pull up in so that it sits just like this. All right, I know that I just did a terrible job of showing that to you. Let me pull this guy up just a wee bit so you can see a little bit more. All right, so when we pull this ribbon up here, that card's going to come right out. You don't want to adhere the ribbon to that card. You want to be able to make sure that it can move by itself. So we've got that. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this piece. Now that I know that I've got enough on there, all right, we can see that we can shorten it up a little bit because we don't need quite as much as we have there. Let's see. Don't be so crazy there, Lisa, with it. Goodness gracious. All right. Now put it back in. Oh, perfect. You can see how we've got that shorter length now, so that's going to be much, much easier to work with. So we're just going to cut that in this angle as well. And now you could just go ahead and tie that in a knot, but we're going to go ahead and use our linen thread to create a little bit of a tie here. Just gives it that little bit more finished, another point of interest, which is always good. Is what we're looking for in our cards, right? We don't want them to be too flat, too boring, too anything. They've got to have that nice balance. So we'll go ahead and tie that. And you could tie that in a little bow if you wanted. Just kind of depends on what your vibe is, how you want that to be. So we've got that right there. We're going to flip it over, and this is where we're going to put this piece. So this will be where you would write your sentiment. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to add on this piece right here. So this piece will go here. And I am going to pop that up with some dimensionals. Make it a little bit, make her a little bit more important. I would love to keep track. Okay, next month in June, I'm going to keep track of how many sheets of dimensionals I go through in a month. I think it's probably one of the supply items that I am most likely to have to order. Every time I place an order, I'm like, ooh, need another thing of dimensionals. That, I mean, adhesive too, but I tend to, I don't know why I don't buy, I should buy like 10 things of dimensionals at one time. Because I do that with my adhesive refills. I'm just like, okay, I need 5 things of green glue and 5 of the Stampin' Seals. Dimensionals, I'm always like, for as many as I use, you would think that would be more of a staple here. And I need a little, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to order a whole ton of them. All right, she's going to go right there. And then we're going to come back in. So we still have our embellishments left. Not a ton. We have done a very, very good job of using a lot of these, haven't we? I probably will need to get out an extra one for my other 2 projects. Because this one, I don't think this one was full when we started these projects. So I'm just going to put the Golden Glow ones right there. And then we're going to come in with some Peaceful Pine. I mean, don't these guys just add so much? Such a good point of interest there. So that was our card, my friend, that took just a wee bit. But since we did all of the embossing and the cutting and the die cutting ahead of time, putting it together was actually pretty easy. And it is a really, really cute card. So I think that's adorable. I was a little scared about sharing that one, and I think it turned out just fine. So we are now going to do a water break, clearly, but we are going to move on to our next project. Let's clean our stamps up. We have a couple greetings here that need to get cleaned up. And yes, I still have that silly cough, honestly. All right, and we'll clean up those bees because we might use those again. We'll have to see what comes in the next ones. Oh, this one goes in our animal one. All right, let us change gears here. So project 9 done. All right, treat. I think we're gonna do our treat bag next. So this is project 11. So let me get what we need for project 11 here for you. So let's get rid of this one here. Make sure we have it labeled. You guys know me in organization. Ooh-wee. All right, project 11. So this is the Little Treat triangle box. And what we have is we have a piece of Golden Glow cardstock. We have 2 pieces of Designer Series paper that are the exact same size, and then 2 other pieces that are also the exact same size. I will tell you, when I read through this, a Velcro dot will come in very, very handy. Oh, also a little label. I mean, how many times have you seen this label in these 12 projects? I feel like almost every project has used it because it's perfect. It's perfect. So we are going to go ahead and do our scoring to create this triangle box. Now, I have created this triangle box once before in another project, and I thought it was so cute. So I'm so glad that someone came in and did something with this. So we're going to open that up, and we'll open up this arm as well. All right, so we're going to score this is your 11-inch side, and so we're going to start by scoring that one first. So we'll pull that in there. So there we go, 3/4, 5 1/4. And I'm like, talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing all this. Like I said, it's not very, there's just a bunch of score lines. And then once we get those done, the rest of it is going to be pretty darn straightforward. It's just getting those score lines. I am always amazed. Like I am pretty darn good at following directions. And when I see something like, and they give it to you, like I can recreate it. Who's coming up with these things on their own? I am just shocked. And we're going to do this one now here. I know some people have in the past have like purchased boxes, and they're really good at like taking them apart and creating that way. And I love that. I just need it. If you give me, well, watch me mess this up. Typically, if you give me, I can follow the directions, but I'm not one who's going to create things on my own like this. My brain, I feel like it's math. I feel like there's a lot of math here, and maybe that is just has never been my strong suit. So we're going to go ahead and burnish these nice and strong so that we know where we're cutting and we don't get ourselves confused, right? So we've got 3 close together here. Another one here. It's funny, so I don't know how much social media you guys consume. I know that I consume way too much. part of it is that I'm always telling myself, like, I'm doing research, like, oh, I need to create a reel, particularly for my other business, which is very, this is, you know, this business is visual as well, but what people are looking for is finished product. The other one is looking more for like tips and tricks and stuff like that. But anyway, there's this whole viral trend right now where it's like you show what you're good at, and then like the kicker, like the punchline is, but don't worry, I cried through math. You know, the whole idea, like, nobody's good at everything. Everybody's got pieces of things that are just going to be tricky for them, and there's no shame in that. There is no shame in not being good at everything. All right, so that was a lot of scoring and a lot of folding to create this sweet little project. So we're gonna fold, and then we're gonna cut. All right, let me look at the cutting here, because this feels like, so this is going to be a tab, and this is going to be a tab. It just says fold Golden Glow base and cut according to template below. So I am looking at the template. That does not feel obvious to me. Does it feel obvious to you? Clearly, I need more direction than just a little photo like that. Good to know though, right? Not everyone, it's not that easy for everybody. So this is one's gonna go here. So we're gonna cut here. So if you guys are with me here, we're gonna cut and we're gonna cut. So that one I feel pretty confident in. And then we're just gonna create that wee bit of angle here, so that this is going to be a little flap here. So this is where we need to create, right? So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do that over here as well. So we'll get that one done. Perfect, perfect. We'll come over here. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut at that little bit of an angle to help create that so it folds a little bit nicer. And then we'll go ahead and flip it, and we'll do the same thing. So we're going to cut on this line, and we're going to come in with just that little bit. Again, we're just creating that little fold there. Cut, 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 cut. Cut, and then we'll cut here as well. So like I said, I'm doing a lot of these projects, well, all but my projects, for the very first time with you guys. So it's nice to see, like, sometimes I think when we create things as demonstrators, we don't understand how challenging that might be. Right? How challenging that might be for people. And so I think that is a good reminder for me, at least. So this is going to come this way. All right, I'm following along here. Let's just see here. This is going, I know what I'm supposed to end up with, friends. So what are we doing here, huh? Oh, hold your horses. This is starting to make sense. If you guys know how this is supposed to go, you should really let me know, right? So what we need to do here is, this is going to come here. We're going to cut. All right, so let me show you. Let me open this up again. We're going to cut here, and we're going to cut here. All right, those are going to be little extra pieces that we don't need. And then as we put this box together, this is going to come here. these are going to fold in, and we're going to cut this one off. So if we look at this, this guy is going to come off. So let's get that one cut off because we're making this little flap. And so we just don't need that guy. Took me a minute, not gonna lie, took me a minute. So again, what we're gonna do is, if we think about it really simply, this little piece here is gonna come over and fit underneath this one. So we're going to go ahead and adhere that part first. So that little flap, right? You see how we've cut this piece off? We've got this little flap now, and so that is where we're going to put our tear tape so we can start to make our box. I think that for boxes, for me, I probably need more step-by-step, and I probably need a visual with like X's, like cut this piece off, cut that piece at an angle. I'd love to know from you guys. Like, I think of myself as pretty intuitive, but I'm also doing this I printed it in black and white, and maybe that is where I'm getting a little stuck up. So here we go. That is the adhesive. So if we fold this over, that longer piece is going to fit right on there, and that is how we're going to be able to create our box. So we're going to come down here. Did you guys see that, how that came together? This, and then we've got little pleated sides on either side. So this is going to be the bottom. So we're going to fold those in, and then we're going to fold these down. So this is going to be the front. So I'm going to fold this, and then our box is going to sit like that. Is everybody with me on that? Does that feel right to everybody? Well, that is how we're going to do it. We'll see if that's how the box is supposed to actually be made, but that is going to be the Lisa Pretto version of this particular box. And so I'm just going to put 2 pieces of tear tape on there just so that it holds really well. Now, if you've been here for days 1 and 2, we can talk about the wonderful things that should be in this box. I mean, obviously it's Winnie the Pooh, so little honey, little tea, any type of chocolate, any type of little treat is really good. Also cash and jewelry. Let's not forget cash and jewelry are also totally appropriate to put in these sweet little boxes, right? And then we're going to go ahead and put the other one on here, and this will create the bottom of our box. Also, I probably have taught myself that before I come on and do it just with you, I should probably do a run through on my own, because I think I can figure things out pretty good. But you know how it is, like one person's way of like, I gave a ton of instructions and the other person's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I think the more of these things you do, the more you kind of assume like, oh, everyone knows what I mean. And so, good word to the wise on that. I like that. I appreciate that. All right, so we've got our sweet little bottom there, and these are going to pinch in. We're actually going to cut these guys off as well, so we just have our flap. So we'll cut those little wings off. And now we're going to do some embellishing, and really it is almost pretty much done. So we've got our box, we've got our flap. This is going to fold in like this. Let's give that a little pinch. And then this guy is going to fold over. So that is how that's going to look. So these are going to come in, and then this is going to come over, and that's going to be that box. So we're just going to go ahead and put our designs on here. And so let's go ahead and put our adhesive. And I think this is the first time we're going to be using, we've used this starburst side so many times, but we're actually going to be using the other side today, which I think is so cute. I mean, look at how cute that is. That is just the beautiful cartoon. Oh, so darling. So we'll go ahead and put one on the front, and then we're going to go ahead and put one on the back. And the nice thing is you could really do this with whatever card or cardstock that you have there. Whatever DSP that you still have left is going to work just fine. And then for the flap, we have those 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and this is where we're going to use the opposite side. Right, and we're going to put that one right there, and we're going to put this one right there. And then what I did not include in any of my packages, but what you probably need is a little Velcro dot. I would put a little Velcro or magnetic dot there so that when you fold this over, it stays really, really nicely. All right, so that would probably be the best way to do that. And so we're gonna put a little bit of ribbon on this one. And this has a bow, so we're gonna need a smidgen more than we normally would go with. And so we'll go ahead and tie that. So I always think tie a knot before you tie the bow. Make it as easy as on yourself as you can. You could also just tie it in a knot and then tie a bow on top of it. That also works really well. It just depends on what your comfort level is and what you want that bow to look like. If you want it to look really big and flowy, or if you want it to look a little bit more neat and tidy. No wrong way there. So we can see how cute that's going to be. That is just really, really darling. And we're just going to go ahead and add in our little label here. So we're going to take that label, and because it's a sweet little treat box, we're going to put a little treat on there. So it's going to say, you deserve a treat. You deserve a little treat. So we'll get that guy out. And I think this says to stamp it in Peaceful Pine. So that is what we're going to do. So sometimes with some of these word stamps where they're just a little, like, it's so easy to get them wonky because they do bend. Just putting it on there, I think, makes a huge difference. Otherwise, I tend to always get a little bend in mine. So we'll go ahead and do that. Stamp that in Peaceful Pine. You deserve a little treat. We'll go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that. Like I said, the little Velcro dot there is going to solve all those little problems. And then this is going to come right down. Oops. Clearly I need my little Velcro dot, don't I? Really, really sweet little box. And so you can see it's got that little pleat on the sides, which is just so, so cute. Love that. Darling, darling, darling. Project 11, which means, friends, we are on our last project. We are on our last project of the Silly Old Bear Craft Along. This has been so, so fun. So for those of you who, well, whether you got it or not, I would love to know from you what your favorite projects were. If we are doing a Christmas in July, what would you like to see? Do you love a 3D? Do you like more cards? Do you like things that are really involved? Do you like more technique? Do you like more folded? I would love to know what things you like for something like this, because I think that makes a huge difference, how you like to craft the things you like to do. For me, like, I'm a big proponent. I want to see something a little new, but not hard. Like, I don't like it. Like, I want it to be like, oh, never saw that before. Or, oh, I hadn't seen it like that. But I don't need things to be like super hard and challenging. But I know that there are a lot of stampers out there who are like, bring it on. Give me the really super hard, super crafty stuff. So I would love to know from you what you would like to see. What's the most fun things for you? All right, so let's see what we got in here. Project 12. So we are going to need, we have a piece of Peaceful Pine cardstock. Oh, let me turn you around. That's not going to help you any watching me while I'm doing this. All right, Peaceful Pine cardstock. We have a piece of Very Vanilla, and this one has been run through that embossing folder again, so that one is there. We have another piece of Very Vanilla, and this one we use to create, and we use the bigger label for this one, so you're going to have that piece as well. You're going to have this sweet darling, look at that. Oh, That is so cute. So you're going to have that die cut out of your designer series paper, and then we have that really pretty pink gingham again. That is that Barely Blush design. So again, all of the new in colors in this particular set of designer series paper, which I think is really great. So directions: emboss your Very Vanilla. So we did that. We're good there. Die cut your gingham with the largest. We love that. And then your image design, that image, we cut that. Okay, so we are good to go. So we are going to take our piece of Peaceful Pine and we are going to just fold that in half for a nice straightforward card here. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put, this is going to go on, and then we are going to put this on. And when you put this on, we're going to put it a little bit over to the left side. So we're going to put that over a little bit to the left side. So let's do both bits of that. So we'll put on our, and then we're going to go ahead with that gingham. So we're going to put this one just a wee bit over to the left and up a little bit. So you can have a little bit more on the bottom showing here and a little bit less on top, because we're going to put our greeting down here. So that will be perfect. We are going to put our piglet right up there. And then this greeting will go right here. So that's what the layout's going to be. Okay, so let's put some dimensionals on the back of this one. The last bits, my friend, of our dimensionals here. Oop, got a little careless there. Hold on, Lisa. So we've got that on there. We'll pull these off. So I have to decide. So you guys know that I do, every month I do my card club, and my card club is all focused on a designer series paper packet. So it's all the cards, all of the fancy stuff, but it's using just one set of designer series paper. And so I would love to know what your favorites are. I'm thinking of either, I'm going to do the Waterside Retreat, because I love that stamp set, that bundle. I love every single thing about it. I think it is so good and so beautiful, and I think there's so many great ways to use it. So I'm thinking that's what I'm doing, but I would love to know if there is another set of paper that you're like, gosh, I haven't seen this in action yet, or I really would love this one. But I'm going to work on designing that this next week. So I would love to know from you guys what DSP would you like to see for our monthly paper party. All right, so this is just going to pop right on there then. So we'll just add a few more dimensionals. To that. And there's so many good ones coming for the July. I mean, it's just like there is actually more product than you could ever use. I mean, there's so much good stuff that's coming. And so it's always funny, like, yes, it's frustrating when things are back ordered or not available right when we want them. But I'm also like, there are so many options for what we can stamp with, that there's like more than I could possibly ever show people. Like, it's kind of wild that way. And that, my friend, is card 12. So look at how cute that is. Oh, isn't that just darling? So sweet. I would put a little piece of vanilla in here because it makes me anxious to write on the card, so I would do that as well. But that is Project 12, my friends. Woohoo! All right. So, like I said, a couple of things that I would love to know from you guys. One is designer series paper. What would you like to see? for our pretty paper party for the month of June. I am leaning towards Waterside Retreat because it's just so beautiful. I love that. I would also love to know that when we do our next craft along, Christmas in July, what kind of projects would you like to see? Now, obviously it's Christmas, so maybe we want gift card holders. Do we want cards? Do we want 3D? Comment below, because those are things that we will definitely take into account as we do all of our planning with that. So thank you guys so much for joining in. I hope that you have a fabulous Memorial Day weekend and get a chance to enjoy. I hope the weather is good near where you are and you get to do all the fun things. If you did not get a tutorial for Silly Old Bear Craft Along and you would like one, they're $25. You can just email me. You can message me below. And if you by chance you ordered something and you didn't get it, I went through and hunted through my Stripe, and so I found a couple of you that had ordered, and I feel like I got those out. But if there's something else you want, please let me know. Otherwise, we will see you on Monday. I'll be here Monday. It's Memorial Day. We'll be here Monday stamping at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time for Simple Stamping Monday. All right, friends, make it a great one. Thanks so much for being here.